Okay, so by now everybody has gotten their off about the whole Jess Hilarious and Lauren LaRosa debacle, but nobody is talking about the influencer turned real professional pipeline and how it's really tearing the girls up. We seen that most recently when Babyface was on the red carpet and them girls was saying, Roseanne, Joanne, whatever that lady what name was, and they just disregarded Babyface altogether because they really have no understanding of musical, influence and culture, because these are just influencers who, got on the red carpet. The same thing with Megan Thee Stallion. These girls are fans, okay? These girls are fans of the industry, fans of whatever, and it shows up in different places. Jess Hilarious, although very talented in her own right, was an influencer. And she had worked so hard to be able to get to this point of being on a syndicated radio show. However, she stopped there. She did not do the work that it was needed and required to maintain, to rise up to the occasion. You can go off of whatever you want to say, and she's funny, and she Just With The Mess was cool and funny on Instagram. But when we're doing it in the morning, we have real things to talk about and real, conversations. It didn't quite land. And while social media has been impactful to so many people, like we've seen that time and time again, it does not mean that I can, take a couple of clips off of my iPhone, put it together, and call myself a filmmaker. Now, to a degree, that is true, and you can have opportunities. But when, you have someone that come and say, listen, I want you to put this together to me, here's my official equipment, there is a certain level of learning curve, right? And you need to be able to rise to the occasion. Now, this is no slight to Jess. However, but apparently she was stumbling and fumbling and wasn't able to read and this, that, and the third. Now, I don't know her education level, and I'm not saying that you have to have a certain level of education to even be entertaining, to come before people and present, but you understand and you knew what it was able to do, what was also required. So I don't know if that means that you need to get in front of somebody and work on your speech. I don't know if that means that you need to get a book and read it out loud. I don't know if you can get your notes before the show so you can practice saying them and speaking them, but clearly she wasn't doing that. I'm sure that there were missteps and mishandling of her from a corporate level and a corporate standpoint, but I also think that Jess leaned on the fact that she has a lot of the same ideologies and ideals that a lot of the men do. So, she can also be able to not really give a damn and be ignorant like a Charlamagne the God or DJ Envy, who is just clueless half the time. But it doesn't work in that way, because women always know that we need to be more prepared. Okay, we need to understand that it's different for us. And I think that because Jess politics in a way that most men do, that she thought that those rules applied to her. Newsflash, it does not. If you go out on maternity leave, there's a chance that you're going to come back and it's a little shaky. 9 times out of 10, men are not taking paternity leave. And so it doesn't matter if you politic like a man, you're still a woman. And I want to circle back to influencers and creatives who are on platforms that have thousands, hundreds, or even million of followers. Just because you have amassed a certain level of followers on one platform does not mean that you're up to the job or up to the challenge. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be. And hear me clear, because if the opportunity comes, you better walk through that door. But make sure that if you're going to be alongside of somebody who's gone to school for 4 years, got a 4-year degree in journalism, or have been working with somebody that are producing beats who was in a professional studio before, and you've only been using, BandLab, look up a video, take a course, do something to prepare yourself. Now, it's not going to be 20 years of experience because you just can't fake that, but you can also do some preparation so that way you can hang and you can handle. That's just a small piece of accountability. And I'm talking about when preparation meets opportunity. And because you have the skills, you think that they're going to easily transfer. And sometimes that's not the case. And this is also to professional development. When you are in a creative space and you feel like, oh, I'm just creative and this, that, and the third, and it's going to all work out. Even artists have certain, I'm talking about people who draw or paint or whatever, even they have some sort of framework in which they, abide by. Poets, writers, they all have some sort of framework, and you have to kind of work within that. Sure, you have creative expression and creative rights, but you still need to understand the game and the level and the board that you're playing on. Much like you have to understand that the audience here over on Instagram, or for me in my case, the audience that I have on YouTube are used to me taking a long time to get to a point. I make long form content. That was my original start in content creation. This is why this video is probably gonna be 3 minutes. I'll be like, damn, this is TikTok. Why does it go on here in 3 minutes? Because I'm used to speaking and I'm used to creating long form content. So I need to know and understand, like, okay, girl, if I'm over here, I need to speak differently. Now, her getting pregnant 6 months into her new role, in this new, very elevated position is a whole nother subject. Because a girl that's working over at Walmart, a girl that's working at the Wawa, the Quick Check, or whatever the case, understands and knows that if she's hired by somebody and she's a mother, right, she's going to have a different set of challenges, especially navigating a regular workforce, a regular job. The same is going to be true for somebody who's in the entertainment industry, who just got into a role after you're filling a seat for somebody who was there for 20 years or 13 years. Now, I'm not saying that as a woman, it's right. Of course it's not. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all hear my kids in the background. I understand completely when, the supervisor's looking for mandatory overtime, or, well, not for me, but you get what I'm saying. And I know they know I got to get the fuck out of here because I got to go home to my kids, versus somebody who comes in with no children. It's a whole different conversation. Is it right? No. Do I understand it? Absolutely. Jess, you're too old. You knew what was up. The point I'm trying to make is, don't let your follower count. Don't let the fact that you politic like a man. Don't let the fact that you are beautiful. Don't let the fact that you were a fan favorite. Don't let the fact that you was you peaked in high school. You was that girl in high school. Don't let any of those things ever make you think that you're bigger than a program. Because the reality is going to come through and knock right on your noggin and say, sister, not for real. The door opens, walk through it, but be prepared for what's going to come on the other end of that.